Title: Orphaned by the Crimson Cough. Part 1. Once upon a time, life adhered to an enduring rhythm, an unbroken cycle of morning commutes, evening suppers, school runs, and weekend football games. As a father, my primary task was to shepherd my son, a 15-year-old colt on the cusp of adulthood, through life's tribulations. It was an existence defined by the comforting hum of predictability and routine. Then the enemy came. It began as a quiet murmur, a chilling wind that swept across continents, leaving havoc in its wake. News of the Crimson Cough, an insidious specter of death, crept into our lives, bringing with it an age of fear and uncertainty. I remember the first death in our town, the postmaster, a woman of robust health and vitality. Her abrupt departure from life was the harbinger of the storm that was about to befall us. The Crimson Cough spread like wildfire, unseen, unheard, until it was too late. Its name, when it finally came to be known, was whispered in hushed tones, as though speaking it aloud would somehow lend it more power. It was a relentless reaper that took indiscriminately, but it seemed to prefer adults, casting an ominous shadow over our world. Our lives became a macabre dance around the ever-looming threat. We fortified our home, a fortress against the unseen assailant. We adopted new rituals: masks before venturing out, rigorous cleaning, washing, and distancing. The mere act of living transformed into a silent warfare. Despite our precautions, the Crimson Cough breached our walls. I was the first to fall, the fever, fatigue, and the eponymous cough signaling my downfall. My son, forced into maturity, became my caretaker, his once playful eyes reflecting the somber reality of our world. I watched him from my sickbed, a silent spectator as he shouldered burdens no child should bear. As I slipped away, my world narrowed to the confines of my room, the once familiar voices on the radio sounding increasingly distant. My son's gaze bore into mine, fear and understanding mirrored in his eyes. He was to inherit a world crippled by the Crimson Cough, the adults vanishing, leaving behind a generation of children thrust prematurely into a dystopian existence. Part 2. 2 years since the Crimson Cough swept away the world as we knew it. The town was a stark contrast to the vibrant community it once was. The once ubiquitous sounds of adults had been replaced with the sporadic voices of children. My son, now 17, had matured beyond his years, forced into leadership by circumstance. Liam navigated the labyrinth of his new reality, leading scavenging expeditions to deserted towns nearby, managing inventory of precious resources, and mediating conflicts that sprung up within their ranks. Their school was now more than a symbol of a bygone era. It was their operational headquarters, their fortress. Scavenging missions were hazardous but necessary. Children, small, agile, and quick, made for ideal scavengers. They slipped through abandoned buildings, picked clean the remains of the world left behind by adults, and brought back their spoils. Every venture was a game of Russian roulette, a desperate bid against time and the ever-looming threat of the Crimson Cough. In the evenings, they gathered around fires, the flickering light casting long shadows. Liam, the reluctant teacher, shared stories from books scavenged during their expeditions. Stories of heroism, of love, of hope. They served as a tenuous link to a world that was slipping away from their collective memory. Yet amidst this struggle for survival, the specter of adulthood started showing its face. The oldest among them began to change, voices deepening, bodies growing. Yet with this rite of passage came a haunting question. Would the Crimson Cough claim them as it had the adults? The question hung in the air, a silent ghost. But for now they had another day to live, to learn, to fight. Their struggle was far from over, but with each passing day they were writing a new chapter in the story of humanity, etching their resilience in the annals of time.